All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. Double honors to the apostle elders, the great millstone who rule well. And salutations to all you brothers out there pushing this word of truth, sincerity, and humility. Once again, it's the brother Shatia from the Chicago camp coming back to you with what I hope is another quick and edifying sit down. And this sit down was inspired by this video here. All right, it says Americans are losing interest in everything, basically saying how America has changed. And, this led me to other videos where people were saying the same thing in the sense that they don't know what's happened to America. America has changed. And I'm here to tell these people that this has always been America. Since day one, this has always been America. You got these people talking about how they can't afford housing. Well, Jakes haven't been able to afford housing for quite some time. Matter of fact, they were prohibited for at one time in history of any type of home ownership. Okay? You got these families talking about how America has changed because school is too expensive. They can't afford cars. They can't afford rent. They can't afford. In a nutshell, I say, welcome to a normal day for Israelite, because America has not changed. America has always been the same. And see, now since the elites don't care about revealing their hand anymore, and all the lower level Edomites are suffering, now it's a problem. See, it wasn't a problem when Jake was just getting their ass whipped and they were still able to afford homes and had great families and get loans and didn't have to worry about police brutality, Klansmen, and all these other things. See, all the things that they felt was just a happenstance or coincidence in the grand scheme of America is now coming back to bite them in the ass. And see, we'll get the scripture when it says in Galatians 6 and 7. And I've been getting this out a lot because it definitely applies to this time. You can't think that you can't just sit there and think that you can do all this wickedness to all the other nations and this wickedness not come back upon you. This is Galatians 6 and 7. It says, be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. See, now all the things that so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans have been complaining about since day one over here in America, now these Edomites are feeling it. And because now they're feeling it, they want to talk about, oh, America has changed. America has not changed. This has always been the same cesspool of evil that it's been ever since bad Uncle Esau came over here and conquered it. This is why Job said in Job the 10th chapter, he said, before I go, whence I shall not return, even to the land of darkness and the shadow of death, a land of darkness as darkness itself, and of the shadow of death without any order, and where the light is as darkness. Everything is evil. Everything is backwards. Everything is just downright oppressive and sad. And see, now because people can't get their lattes, they can't afford houses, they can't afford cars, they can't afford families. See, now these Edomites are talking about we need to come together. We need to come out against the establishment. Our forefathers lied to us. It never was an American dream. This is a shithole. Yeah. Oh, man, that reminds me. What does the scripture says? Uh, Ecclesiasticus, sometimes referred to as Sirach. Man, I'm gonna actually start at 5. Ecclesiasticus 41:5. It says, "The children of sinners are abominable children, and they that are conversant in the dwelling, and they that are conversant in the dwelling of the ungodly. The inheritance of sinners' children shall perish, and their posterity shall have a perpetual reproach." Now, we all know the only people who can sin are the Israelites. However, the scriptures are manifold. Okay, here it is. You have a nation of people that have inherited all the hard work of the head tribe. Okay, they, for lack of a better phrase, you get like the residue of the blessing. You don't get the actual blessing and the fullness of, you get the residue of it, like the after, whatever's left over, because your people are in control. And now we're at a point where these Edomites don't have nothing. Here it is, they had the world given to them on a silver platter, had everything in the world with every advantage they could possibly have, and now they have absolutely nothing. Okay, it says the inheritance of sinners' children shall perish, and their posterity shall have a perpetual reproach. It says the children will complain of an ungodly father, because they shall be reproached for his sake. And that's what you're hearing on many of these videos. You hear these people sighing and crying because the wicked are bearing rule. And now they realize that they are the wicked. Their nation of people is the wicked. And they've been bamboozled since day one that they got in control over here in the United States. And now, since they realize that they've been under a 400-500 something year plus deception, now they want to talk about how our ancestors did us wrong. They should have told us the truth. They should have did this or should have did that. Why do we have to suffer? There's no hope for me. Well, that's on you guys. Okay? Because at the end of the day, these folks knew that these Edomites knew that the head tribe of their nation of people were doing wickedness. They knew this. Nobody can sit there and say that you could observe generation after generation after generation after generation over hundreds of years of people getting slaughtered by your nation of people and just think that nothing is wrong with America. Okay? You're going to sit there and say there was nothing wrong with slavery. You're going to sit there and say there was nothing wrong with lynching, with burning, with buck breaking, with AIDS, with the Tuskegee experiment. You're going to sit up here and tell me that there's nothing wrong, that you get loans and other people don't. You can't sit there and say that you did not know. These Edomites cannot sit here and say they did not know that all these things were going on. They cannot sit here and say that America is a just and fair country when you had not only Israelites but other nations of people complaining about the outright and blatant disregard for other nations of people. These Edomites can't say that they did not know that this was happening. It was happening right in front of their face. It was eternally, how do you say, immortalized, or it was forever taken note of in newspapers, postcards, movies. And now they want to complain about how America has changed and it's not fair. Good. I'm glad that you don't think that it's fair. Welcome to the everyday life of a Jake. So that's all I wanted to say on this. Hope you all ratified. To the next time, we're going to say Shalom.